Look at how bad my quarantine eyebrows are. Bitch, no amount of concealer could fix that. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about candle magic, and I'm super excited about this one because I love candle magic. I think it's super easy. It's great if you're a beginner or if you're not. It's just a really easy and effective way to cast spells, and a lot of times most of the stuff that you would need in order to do candle magic you already have in your house. So I really love this and I'm excited to make a video about it today. So first and foremost, obviously, what is candle magic? It is the use of candles, fire, which is the element of transformation, in order to create a shift in your life, in your physical reality, and to manifest things that you want. Candle magic can essentially be used for anything. So if you're trying to attract something into your life, if you are trying to find a romantic partner, if you're trying to even push something away and get it out of your life, there is literally a way to use candles in your spell work for just about any type of spell. One thing that I really like to consider is the phase of the moon. This could be really helpful in the effectiveness of the spell overall. Two particular moon phases that I like to work with specifically are the new moon and the dark moon. The new moon is a really great time in order to start new things, ask for different opportunities, trying to bring things into your life, whereas the dark moon is really good if you're trying to release things, let go of things, and kind of leave them behind. At the end of the day though, you don't have to wait for a specific moon phase in order to do a spell. You kind of just have to follow your intuition and your gut, and if it's telling you to do it on one day and you're just like, I need to do this tonight, I really feel inclined to do this, then definitely listen to yourself. But I particularly like to plan my spells kind of around the phases of the moon, just because I feel like it adds to the efficiency and the effectiveness of my spell. As far as what candles that you can use for this type of spell, you can essentially do any type of candle that you want or that you have. Most people find it preferable to use a smaller candle just so you can do everything in one day if it's a shorter spell, or if you want a longer spell that goes over a span of a couple days or a week, you can use a larger candle. And again, most people prefer unscented, but again, that's up to you if you want to have an unscented or a scented candle. The first and probably the most used are these small spell candles. I've literally never seen them called anything else besides spell candles. They come in about every single color that you can imagine, which is really great because if you know color correspondences, you can use this in your spell to make it more effective. I just keep them in this little box here, and I have a bunch of colors. I am missing some right now, but it's really nice to have these, and these are something that they burn really fast, so you can complete the spell in one sitting, or two if you are wanting to not do it all at one time, because they can burn for about 2 hours or so. The next candle that I'm going to mention is another really popular one for spell work, and it is the 7-day votive candle, or just the 7-day candle, whatever you want to call it. And it's called that because it lasts for approximately 7 days if you don't put it out and you leave it on consistently throughout the days. You can make this spell last longer if you put the candle out every night and then relight it the following night, but I personally, when I use them, like to leave them on. Another one that you could get is one of these styles. I like to use these if I want to do a larger kind of sigil on them, and if I want to put glitter on them, I get really creative with these types of candles. Another option is taper candles. You can get these in a couple different colors too, so these are really nice, and I find that they don't burn for too long, probably a few hours, definitely longer than the small spell candles. But if you want to have it be in one night but really want to put a lot of time and effort into it, then you can do that, or you can prolong it over a couple nights, but these are really nice too. And then the final candle that I'm going to show today is the tea light candle. These are ones that I feel like a lot of people already have lying around their house. And it's super simple to do these ones. They burn out relatively quickly because they are so small. So if you want a quicker spell and you don't want to have to keep revisiting it, then this is a great one for you. This particular one that I have, I actually bought from a witch that I follow on Instagram, and they actually have a shop. All of the stuff that they have is really inexpensive, but you can tell they put a lot of effort into making everything. So I will put that link down in the description box below if you're interested in checking this out. But this particular one that I purchased was a protection tea light candle, and I just like supporting other witches who are creative and making things for others because I think it's really nice. So another thing you might want to consider, I mentioned this earlier, like color correspondences. If you were talking about spell candles, this could go for any candle that you're selecting if you want to keep in mind some magical correspondences as far as color goes. It could just kind of amplify your spell and make it a little bit more effective. I'm just going to run through some of the color association traits. And again, this is just my knowledge and kind of what I go by. and that I have found through my own research, that is not the end all be all what every single witch uses as far as colors go. There is way longer lists of different types of uses for different colors. So this is just my personal one and a very small list that I created just to keep this video kind of short. Black candles are really good if you're trying to banish or remove something. If you feel that you have a hex on you or you're trying to break a habit, a black candle would be really good for that. White in contrast to black, that is the best candle to use for just about anything. If you don't have any colored candles, white is always a good way to go because it can be substituted for any of them, and it also represents purity. Red can represent fertility, sexual passion, and courage, and pink is more of like a love one and type of like friendship if you're trying to manifest those into your life. Orange can promote order. It can also be used for different legal issues if you're having trouble with a court battle. It could also be used for success. Yellow can be used for self-esteem, happiness. Green is usually used for different types of money or wealth spells, and it also can be used to counteract any jealousy that somebody may be putting in your direction. Blue is often used for promoting peace. It can also be used for astral projection or any other type of dream work. It can also be used to strengthen your intuition. Purple is really great for any type of psychic development. And there are other colors like brown, gray, silver, copper, gold. Those are a little less common, so I'm not gonna go into detail about those, but there are just a lot of different colors that you can choose from if that's something that you wanna incorporate into your spell. So now on to actually how to get started. You have all of the stuff that you need. How do you actually prepare your candle and do a spell with the candle that you have? I don't know if you guys can even tell, but I forgot to turn a light on in the back, and my head was probably just like blending in with the background for the first half of this video, so apologize about that. Let me jump back into what I was saying. So the first thing that I like to do is to cleanse my entire space, including all of the tools that I'm going to use. So that includes your candle, that includes a sharp pointy object if you're going to inscribe into the candle, that includes any oils that you're going to be using to anoint it, anything that you're going to use that I'm going to talk about next. Make sure that you're cleansing it, just because you want to make sure that the energy is neutralized and you're not going in with anything negative or anything that might have been picked up from the store that you bought it at, or from the time that it's been sitting in your room, any emotions that might have been kind of pent up and being absorbed by that object. So the next thing that I do that I feel like I see most people not doing at this particular point is to cast my circle. Most people cast their circle after their candle's already prepared and they're ready to light it, because that's when the spell starts. But in my opinion, when you are anointing the candle and you're putting your intention and your energy into that candle, that's a part of the spell too. Any type of focused intention is spell work, and I want to make sure that I'm protected for that. I want to make sure that no negative energy or forces can creep into my space and into my practice. So I just want to make sure that I'm focusing on myself and making sure that I'm being safe and taking the necessary precautions to make sure that I'm keeping my working space energy neutralized. After my space is cleansed, my tools are cleansed, and my circle is cast, I'm ready to begin actually preparing my candle for the spell. The first thing that I like to do is inscribe something onto the candle. This can be a word, it could be a rune, it could be a symbol, and I particularly like to use sigils to carve into my candles. You can literally do anything as long as that means something to you in relation to the spell that you're doing and the intention that you have. I remember when I first started doing this in college, I would use a sharpened pencil or like a very pointy gel pen to carve things into my candles, just because I didn't have like an X-Acto knife or a toothpick. Something I like to do too when I have these larger candles is, like I mentioned before, I like to put glitter on them. So after I inscribe something into my candle, I will take glitter and I'll push it into it so you can see what it is that I had put on the candle, because if you don't do that, you usually can't see it, and that's okay if you don't want it to be seen. It's something that you know is there and your subconscious is able to pick up and reinforce into the spell. But sometimes I just like to see, especially if I like the sigil that I created and it's something that I think is beautiful or a word that really resonates with me and I want to see it while the candle's being burned, I often use glitter. Now, if you're using one of these votive candles, you can't really inscribe something into it because it is covered in glass. So another way that you could get around this is using a Sharpie and writing on the glass. I personally don't like doing that. I prefer to write what it is on a piece of paper. Oftentimes when I do it this way, I get a little bit more detailed and I will write longer paragraphs or a couple more sentences and fold it up, and I will put it underneath the candle while it burns for the 7 days. So it's always there, I never move it, and it stays there throughout the duration of the spell. On the same note of putting your words underneath the candle, I often like to use a tarot card or an oracle card that goes with what my intent is, and I will put that underneath the candle or by the candle when it's burning. The next step after carving a symbol or word into your candle is to anoint it with some type of oil. And this could be any type of oil you want. I have different carrier oils for essential oils if you just want to use something like that, or you can actually use essential oils. Personally, I like to use essential oils just because I'm knowledgeable about the ones that I have, and I know that I can apply them to different spells that I'm doing with the intention that I have placed on the spell. I see a lot of people online offering up different ways to anoint your candles. One that I see particularly the most is that you should go from the top to the middle and then from the bottom to the middle, just putting it all to the middle for some reason. That didn't resonate with me personally. The method that I find the most effective is if I want something to come to me, if I want a new opportunity or new beginning of something, and I'm trying to draw something in, I will take my oil and I will go up the length of the candle towards me. And if I'm trying to get something away from me, I'll do it the opposite direction and I'll push it away from me. So you could basically use that method for any type of candle you're using. One that you might be concerned about is the votive candle. Again, you always kind of have to change the method of the way you do something with this particular candle just because it is covered in glass. But the method that I like to do it, I like to go right on the glass itself. I know some people prefer to poke holes into it, and this is a great time if you're knowledgeable on numerology. Whatever your spell is, you can use a magical correspondence as far as numbers go and do that specific number of holes in it and pour the oil through the holes so that the candle could kind of absorb that. But I've never done that. I just don't have the right tool to really kind of poke stuff. You couldn't really do that with a pencil when I was in college. So I'm sure you can do it with a toothpick and that would be just as effective. I personally just like to do it on the glass. That just is easier for me and it spoke to me more. It does get really slippery though, so be careful. This basically is the reason why I said I like to cast the circle before all of this, because when you are anointing your candle with the oil, you have to really focus on your intention. This is your time to physically take your energy from your hands, from yourself, and put it into the candle. Visualize what it is that you want going into the candle. So when do you stop? So you're anointing your candle. This is me anointing my candle. I'm drawing it to me. How many times do I have to do this? Some sources say 50, some sources say 100. The way that I see it is whenever that you feel that you have visualized enough, whenever you feel that you have fully transferred all of your energy and your intention into the candle, then I feel like it is a safe place to stop, because just kind of go with your gut and see when you feel that enough is enough. Next is an optional thing that you can do to your candle, which is dressing it. This is using an herb that is associated with what your intention is in order to amplify and strengthen the effectiveness of your spell. Again, all of this is just to support the spell and add some additional energy to it in order to manifest your goal faster and be more effective. Take a shot every time I say effective, because I think I've said it about 50 times in this video, but that's the best way for me to say it. It does make it more effective when you're adding herbs that have the same properties that you're trying to align with the intention that you're putting out to the universe. It's not going to be perfect, it's not glue, but it'll do enough as long as the intention's there and you are taking the action to do that. And you can use any type of herbs that you want. You can use as many as you want. You can make your own blend. Just like with the oils, you can mix different oils if you want to create your own blend. Just kind of do whatever feels best for you. And again, for the 7-day candles, these are the odd ones out. You can kind of just sprinkle the herbs on top, just like this little tea light candle that I showed you guys before. Now it's time to continue setting the spell in motion. If you have not already, definitely cleanse your space and cast a circle or do some type of method to create a safe space for yourself and make sure that your energy is protected. Take a moment now to meditate a little bit, quiet myself, ground, center, and really kind of focus on my intention once more. And I like to do this before I light the candle, because I see the lighting the candle as just another way to transfer this energy that I'm focusing on into the candle, and lighting it, beginning it, sparking it, starting that transition that the fire represents. So I really do like to take a minute and just meditate on what it is that I'm trying to get out of this spell, and make sure that my mind is not, thinking about what I had for dinner earlier or whatever. Like, make sure that I'm focused on what it is that I'm trying to do. So then you light the candle. Honestly, that's probably the easiest part of this entire process, is just lighting it. Now you can kind of just sit with the candle, and it's really nice to take a look at the flame, because you can get a lot of information on the outcome of your spell, the time frame, and a lot of other information just by looking at the flame and the smoke. So I'm gonna go over a couple of them now. A strong, high flame. This is representative of a strong yes. So if you are wanting a new promotion or something, and you are creating a spell to get that promotion because you want it, you have been working for it, a strong high candle is a yes. It's validating that that's going to come into your life, and the strength of it and being so high represents that it's going to come into your life relatively quickly. A low but steady flame also means that you are going to get what it is that you're out to receive, but it will come with some time and patience. So it's not going to be as quickly as a high, strong flame. So just put some time and patience into it, and just know that it will come, just it'll take a little bit longer. A flickering flame could mean a couple different things. I found two that I see kind of bounce back and forth. If you're looking for like a yes, no answer, a flickering could be like a wavering on the fence, could be yes, could be no. But a flickering candle could also mean that there may be spirits present. A low or dull flame could mean that maybe it's just not the best time for you to be doing this right now. It might be able to be worked upon and could come out in the future, but it might not just be the right time now. If your flame has little pops in it, or is like doing those little like spark things, that could mean that there is an interference from an outside force. Or I found that it just might mean that the flame is reacting a little bit to the oils that you use. So could be either, but that's something to mention anyway. If your flame goes out on its own, and it wasn't because you left a window open, it wasn't because there's a fan on, if it just goes out and there's no wind flow, that means that a stronger force is opposing this spell. It means that it's not the right time right now, and that maybe you should reevaluate and take a step back and think about what it is that you are asking for, and kind of see why it might not be meant to move forward. Definitely don't try to relight it at this time. There is a strong sign, and listen to these signs that are telling you, this is not right now. Don't try to push against it, because you end up doing more harm than good. Another thing to mention about the votive candles specifically is if the glass breaks, stop immediately. That just means that it is not a good thing happening right now. You are not meant to be doing this right now. Something's not happy that you're doing this. Don't continue to try to move forward with this particular spell. There's just too much opposition against what you're trying to manifest, and it's just not meant to be. You can also look into the direction of the flame. There are a lot of different interpretations on that. I don't particularly look into that too much, so I'm not going to go into that. If that's something that you want though, to get a little bit more in depth with the spell and get a little bit more information from it, that's something you can do. There are countless number of resources online to check out. Different smokes though can mean different things. White smoke, for example, is good, whereas black smoke is not very good. It could be a negative energy. And then the direction of the smoke, if it's going towards you or away from you, also indicates something. I don't pay too much attention to the direction of the smoke, just like I don't pay too much attention to the direction of the flame. But again, if that's something you're interested in, there are a lot of resources out there on the interwebs that you can go check out. So essentially next, you can just wait for the candle to burn out if it's small enough. Obviously, we're not gonna sit here for 7 days and watch this candle burn. You're gonna leave this one. But for these smaller ones, like the spell candles or the tea light candles, you can sit with it and watch it. If you just really don't feel like it though, I know some of us might be on a time crunch, or if you are just energetically drained, because it does take a lot of time to, prepare everything, anoint the candle, dress it, and kind of get everything situated. If you just don't really want to sit with it that night, you can snuff it and come back the next day and continue where you left off. I totally recommend snuffing it though. Is there another word for snuff? I hate saying the word snuff. You just take one of the little snuffers, that's how it's called. I would recommend doing that instead of blowing it out, because it contains the energy, contains the spell, instead of blowing it and kind of having it go, woo, I don't even know if that makes any sense. In my mind, that makes sense. I want to contain it and then revisit it completely, ignite it again, instead of pushing away all of the energy that I'm working with. So if you are doing it one night, putting it out, doing it again the following night, and then the following night, and the following night, however long it takes to burn completely out, then you can snuff it out if that resonates with you, or you can blow it, whatever makes sense for you. I personally like to leave them on. I do this in a safe way. There are a number of different ways that you can be safe about where you leave your candle. If you are very, very worried about it and it's something that will keep you up at night, I recommend putting it in the bathtub, maybe surrounded by, you know, a little pool of water, just to be extra careful in case something does happen, because you never know. Once the candle has burned out, you can close your circle and you can bury whatever's left. If you are using the 7-day candles, I 100% recommend checking out Hoodoo Delicious video here on YouTube, because that video hands down is the best depiction and kind of explanation of what the residue on the sides of the candle means and how to read the glass of your votive candles. So if it's a clean burn, it's a good thing. You could count how many rings there are. If there is black on the sides, if there's like soot, they really go into detail all about anything that you would possibly need to know about interpreting the glass that is left over from your candle, which is why I think it is invaluable to use these, because you continually have information that you can get that's left over after the spell is completed. So that's Candle Magic, guys. It's very simple. Basically, that's the gist of it at a very general level. So if this is something that you're interested in doing, I hope that this gave you the tools that you need. Like I said, it's very simple. It's something that I continue to love to do, not just because it's easy and I always will know that I have the tools that I need, but also just because it's very effective. And the more that you learn, the more you learn about magical correspondences, you could pull into this and kind of just make your spells even stronger and feel more confident doing them. So I think this is a great type of spell work to do. So I hope this was helpful for all of you guys. If so, let me know. If you have any recommendations of videos you would like to see, or different types of spells you would like some additional information on, just let me know in the description box down below. I would love to film more videos that you guys are interested in seeing. So that's about it. I will see you guys in my next one. Stay safe. Bye. Fail.